there are different things that club leaders are needing this year and different support systems that need to be offered.
We're hoping to maybe have, some like fun TikTok challenges.
So we really want to push that forward this year.
So that people can see what our club is about and still be interested in us, even though we may look completely different this year.
There's going to be a lot of competition that's going to spark creativity.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. I know that with the COVID-19 situation in Canada, many university and college programs decided to deliver school remotely in the fall term. This means that many students will be staying home or living off campus for the term, and there will be limited access to campus facilities. It sounds like a bummer to most students, and many expressed concerns about how clubs will run in the fall. And just like you, I'm curious about how the clubs I'm part of is going to run in the fall term. So today, I've invited a few Queen's clubs over to answer the question and tell us about how their club is planning to operate in the fall. How do you guys think the club operation is going to look different in the coming semester?
It's going to look a little different based on the fact that we are going to be having a remote fall term academically. So I think for myself in the club's office, as well as for many club leaders, that means re-looking at how events are currently held, how you are reaching out to students to get them involved, and generally events that happen out of my office out of this year as well will be going online. So it looks like reworking clubs caucus so that we can still have meetings with club leaders and let them know what's going on. It looks like tailoring resources to COVID-19 relevant resources and support systems and creating new ones where there aren't any or haven't previously been any. So that's kind of the difference. And it also means for the club's office that we're shifting our area of resource support for clubs in general, because there are different things that club leaders are needing this year and different support systems that need to be offered. So that's kind of how it changes on my end.
For Friends of MSF, usually we focus on fundraising and advocacy for the main Doctors Without Border organization. Most of our money does come from fundraising, but because of COVID, a lot of our fundraising will probably not happen. So for us, we are focusing mostly on advocacy this year and spreading awareness of MSF and its initiatives to first years and upper years as well. Hopefully in the winter semester, if we are able to come back, we might have a couple of fundraising events, but as of now, I think we're trying to rework most of our events that we would have online. So for example, we've had in the past our Global Health Summit, which is our global health conference. So we're thinking about maybe moving that online if we can't have it in person. We usually have like an annual charity concert, but that might get reworked into something else instead. So I think at this point, we're still trying to figure out our fundraising, but I think we'll mostly focus on advocacy.
So for our club, this upcoming fall is going to look completely different. Usually CASA does an in-person event every single month to gather the community and do something to promote Asian culture. So for example, we have like dumpling night where people come in and make their own dumplings, or movie night, or like last year we had this event called Night Market where people come in and they pick snacks, curry fish balls and bubble tea, things like that. So since we're unable to do in-person events in the fall, we really want to push our social media and continue engaging students that way, and also keeping in touch with first years coming in and upper years as well. Again, spreading awareness of our club and trying to keep students engaged for winter, and we are hopefully planning for winter to be in person and kind of reworking our events for COVID safety measures.
So normally there'd be weekly rehearsals, practicing music leading up to a concert, but the music performing arts industry has really taken a giant hit because of COVID, since no ensembles are really able to rehearse and perform following the guidelines. So due to that, our fall semester, there will be no rehearsals, no concert, nothing of that sort for the fall term, which is really unfortunate. However, we are still going to make sure that we reach out to current and incoming students through our social media pages, as was previously said. And we want to host virtual events as well, potentially through Zoom, that can reach out to students who are interested in joining or interested in music in general, to emulate kind of some of the YouTube videos that you might see from a YouTube channel such as Two Set Violin. You might have a virtual sight reading, virtual music trivia, maybe even some Jackbox games, stuff like that, just to bring us together. And then when it comes to winter, we're planning to see what might happen if we can be in person. We'll keep everyone updated on that. But for fall, just kind of looking at virtual events, motion through social media, because unfortunately we can't have any rehearsals or concerts.
First things first, we were pretty lucky to have already selected our executive team before the whole situation fell out and that we all had to go home. Usually hiring for executive teams on committees happens later on in the year, March, sometimes April. Some clubs do it in September, but we weren't able to have our very first meeting. Usually we do full meetings with all the committees together every single week. So instead we've been doing Zoom meetings. And we actually had a pretty fun Pictionary social night with everyone. We got to show our goofy side of it. And we're basically going into the fall semester looking to keep on doing Zoom meetings, hopefully some socials, and just trying to use our imagination to get people thinking, especially for things like sponsorship. A lot of sponsors aren't waiting for people to reach out to them for sponsorship opportunities, so we have to find creative ideas to reach out to them in a way that they're comfortable giving us money to promote the conference. That comes a lot with social media, trying to use our social media more and in different ways. I've been pretty inspired looking at some of the things that have already been going on. I noticed MedLife, a medical NGO at Queen's, did a nice fundraiser where they did dares for their committee members to raise money. So at a certain level, they do a certain dare. I love to see all that stuff coming from other clubs, and it just inspires people back and forth to do cooler stuff that raises more awareness for the clubs themselves. And specifically with the conference itself, a lot of my personal duties are the same, but hosting a conference itself is very difficult due to the amount of people and the confined space. So first, we moved the conference date to January, and we noticed that they were planning on starting the winter semester a week later, so we had to move our conference again. Looks like it's going to start on January 11th. We're basically just closely analyzing what the Queen's administration is telling us and working from there, because they're telling us as much as they can, but health officials are constantly getting new information and we're learning from that. But yeah, we're currently planning on hosting the conference in person, and we're going to do our best to make sure our delegates feel comfortable. One of the recent problems we had was rooming. We have a lot of delegates from other universities, so they come and they stay in hotel rooms, and usually we'll have 4 people in a room, but we want to make sure that's not a requirement for people coming from other universities, so we're going to offer them to stay in a room with 2 people. Moving forward from there, just closely listening to the administration. Yeah.
What are some challenges you foresee for the coming semester?
Similarly, there'll be a lot of challenges with trying new things and trying to get things online where we haven't had to before. For first year students, it's going to be definitely interesting in terms of recruitment and hiring for clubs and about getting the word out about that. So we've changed a few events this year from my office and my end to try and accommodate for that. We're going to be having an online tricolor open house, and information about registration is coming out tonight actually. Perfect timing. So we'll be doing an online version where students will be able to Zoom in or call into a Zoom meeting individually with clubs and talk to club leaders. And that's something that orientation and other events happening this year aren't offering. So we're trying to give as much as possible that in-person, virtual in-person experience so that students are able to still connect, because I think that that's a very important piece of recruitment. And for upper year students, they'll also be welcome at those types of events, but I think the largest thing is changes in how you lead in the club and how you're organizing those kinds of events going forward. And like Jordan said, being very, very malleable to changes in what the administration and what health officials are saying. I think that's going to be a really important piece for everyone this year.
For MSF, a big part of it, as I mentioned before, would definitely be fundraising, kind of similar with QCO. We have to figure out, new and inventive ways to get people to donate or help or fundraise in a way that they do feel comfortable. So that's one big challenge for us. And I think another would definitely be engagement, because a lot of our things that we do at Friends of MSF involves like big events and stuff. And since we can't have those, we're going to have to find new ways to keep people in the Queen's community engaged. And I think that starts with us really promoting our social media, so that we've started to do that a lot.
I think for CASA, our biggest challenge this year would be engaging students, just because from what I've said earlier, many, if not all of our events is in-person events, getting together, things like that. So engaging students definitely would be our biggest challenge this year. So we're trying to find new ways to get students involved and connecting like a face to our social media accounts, as well as getting our execs more involved this year. And also being malleable and keeping up with all the changes coming from the university and health measures and everything.
Just pretty much to echo everything that's been said, outreach is going to be hard, engagement is going to be hard when a music club has to be all online. So again, we're going to do everything we can to promote our social media pages, as well as being at those virtual open houses, those virtual events, so that people can see what our club is about and still be interested in us, even though we may look completely different this year. And again, that also, like going back to what I said to the last question, also having those virtual online events so we can still get some kind of sense of community and get first year students and other upper year students that are interested or still part of the club to feel that sense of community, to connect with our current members and our exec team, so that everyone is kind of comfortable, still feels part of that community, still feels like this is a club that they will want to join and be a part of in the future, when we can go back to in-person events and in-person rehearsals, concerts, whenever that looks like.
Basically, building on what a lot of people have been saying, it's going to be a challenge to genuinely connect with a lot of the new students coming to Queen's. I know it's a nerve-wracking experience coming to such a large community with people of like all ages. It's going to be information overload on social media, and people are going to be doing the most they can to really stand out amongst the rest. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of competition that's going to spark creativity, but it's also going to be very important to keep integrity throughout that and make sure that you're projecting your club's values and you're projecting a personality that people can relate to, but it's a true personality that will continue as they continue to be involved with the club, and to make sure that your club is appealing to people in a personable way. And I would also say that it's really important to do that on social media for a conference especially, so that you can generate that energy, because people are at home, there's a lot of restrictions on things, and they're really excited to go out into the real world and experience things and get back to normal. So if we can generate that excitement to connect with people and go into workshops, say at QCO, that would be awesome to generate that energy, and hopefully it can be an even more rewarding experience coming in January to the conference than it would have been for them coming in November before.
Very well said from all you guys. I know you guys already mentioned, we talked about some of the challenges, and you guys already talked about your plan for next year. I just wanted to ask if you guys have anything to add on to what your club is planning to do.
I don't have other challenges to talk about, but I can take a moment and kind of point out a few resources for club leaders that they can access, as well as anyone who's a member of a club, that have kind of been adapted for this year and can hopefully be helpful. The first would be our alumni and sponsorship director at the AMS, who has been working this summer to update the way she's creating sponsorship packages so that they're usable and workable for COVID-19 situations and outreach that way. And she's a resource for all clubs to access. So you're able to just email her and she can help you build a sponsorship package to help with outreach. And the second is that we just launched a website with the Student Experience Office called the Club Hub. And it's a all one-stop shop resource center for updates on COVID-19 that could be useful for club leaders, as well as templates and training modules for how to host events online and some best practices for keeping students engaged online and that sort of thing. And it will be updated throughout the year on a rolling basis. So those are a few things that are kind of starting to be rolled out, and support systems we're trying to change for this year so that we can best support clubs at this upcoming term.
For us, as I mentioned before, most of our energy is probably going to go towards advocacy, just because fundraising would be kind of difficult. So we're hoping to do most of our advocacy through social media, and we're hoping to maybe have, some like fun TikTok challenges or fun other events to online, maybe to get first years and our upper years as well engaged and wanting to participate with us and Friends of MSF. And other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
So we actually did a poll through Facebook, and we asked the Frosh what they'd like to see, like live Zoom or social media content or maybe a YouTube channel. And we found that majority of the Frosh are mostly interested in social media content. So we really want to push that forward this year, and not just like posts, but also videos like IGTVs or stories, just again, so we build that connection and put a face to our social media. And hopefully we will do a couple of small like events or kind of projects as well. This upcoming month, we're actually going to try to do a Q&A video for the Frosh. And also, again, getting ready for winter, just being prepared so we are ready if we can move forward for in-person events in winter.
It's going to be challenging to face a virtual world when we're all kind of used to being in person, but to those incoming first years or some upper years who are still looking for opportunities, don't be afraid to let yourself reach out and branch out to try different things. If you are interested in music, you have this passion, access to an instrument, want to be a part of an orchestra, still come check us out, still come join us. And even though we can't offer you that experience right now, we have a meeting coming up to look at what some possibilities can be for the winter term if we're able to be in person. And of course, ever evolving depending on federal, provincial, municipal, and Queen's restrictions and information. So, yeah.
We weren't really planning on doing much in the fall semester with moving the conference to January, but we were planning on doing a taster where we're going to bring in just one speaker that kind of gives you a taste of the experience you would get at QCO, and putting on a taster possibly sometime in November when the conference would be is something we're thinking of doing. And we could generate interest across not just Queen's, but in other universities, which might allow us to let people that were on the fence about attending a conference at Queen's really try to experience what it might be like. That might push them over the edge to coming. To build on what Murray said about first years reaching out, totally agree with that. I would say to take risks in this time is pretty hard, but I would say the best way to reach out to something that you think you will be interested is just send them an email. You can go on any of their Facebook pages or their website, literally just send them an email, and it says such a strong message to the person that they just took time out of their day to send the person directly an email, and I think that will go a very long way.
A big thanks to all the friends, family, and professors for supporting me and Ella in creating this channel. We couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support, and thank those of you for watching. Bye!